Hey y'all, welcome back. My name's Katie, this is Dark Side of the Truth, and we're now friends.
Did we just become best friends? Yup!
We're building here, y'all. So if you didn't see my video last week, then pause this and go check that one out, because it's kind of important in order to move forward into this week's topic. And for those of you who are caught up and did already see my last week video, picture this. You wake up one day and there's something coming out of your skin. But I'm not talking like a basic splinter or like a pimple. I'm talking about actual parasitic fibers, colored ones, moving ones. And when you pluck it out of your arm or whatever part of your body that it's coming out of and put it into a baggie and then go to the doctor because you're panicking about what this creature is that you just caught coming out of your skin. So you run to the doctor's office panicking, you're showing them the photos, the videos, and of course the actual colored fibers that you yourself put in this baggie that you're holding in your hand. And the doctor takes one look at you, glances down at the bag, and then tells you, "That bag is empty, sir, and it's all in your head." Meanwhile, you're looking at the same bag and it's not empty. You still see the same fiber-like beings that you pulled out of your skin maybe an hour earlier. Now, what if I told you that those fibers might not be random? And what if I told you that you wouldn't be the only person who is currently suffering from them? And then, what if I told you that they might be connected to something that the government's been openly developing for decades? Something with a name so strange, it sounds like it came straight out of a frickin' sci-fi movie. Yeah, that's where we're going today. Now, real quick, before we dive completely in, I am absolutely not here as an authority in this matter. I'm just here as someone who can't leave a weird question alone until I've chased it all the way down. So for those of you who are new here, think of me as a friend who falls down a rabbit hole and then drags you down with her, showing you all of the receipts the whole way down. Everything in this video is going to be a mix of documented research, published studies, and, internet theories, as well as my own theories. And per usual, I will make it clear which is which as we go. Now, some of this stuff is genuinely controversial and still disputed to this day. So please do your own research, form your own opinions, and don't take anything that I say as medical advice or as outright fact. This video should be nothing more than a starting point for you to go out and do your own digging and then, of course, come to your own conclusions. And any outside sources that are used in this video are used, of course, under fair use for commentary and, critique purposes. All right, now with all of that being said, let's get into it. Roll the intro.
They live, we sleep, the alarms going off, beep beep. Time to wake up to the deceit. All reality's made up by the elite.
So let's start with the human side of this. Because before we get into the tech, the chemtrails, any of that, there are real people right now dealing with something that is tearing their lives apart. And they are being told that it's not real. The condition that I'm speaking about is called Morgellons Disease. And of course, I am probably mispronouncing that. However, patients describe feeling things such as, crawling, burning, or even stinging sensations underneath their skin. And those suffering from this Morgellons disease seem to typically find themselves itching and covered in rashes or even sores that show up suddenly and then just won't heal. But the thing that makes Morgellons so distinct, it's gotta be the fibers. I'm talking microscopic filaments that look like textile threads, but they come in colors like white, black, red, or even blue. And they appear embedded in, under, or even growing out of human skin. Or at least, human skin of those people who have Morgellons disease. And I mean that literally, as you can see from the images and videos here on screen.
what you generally start for Morgellons patients, the red and blue kind of fibers, that kind of thing, and then the black specks. But also blue plastic.
It looks like plastic, but when it's been examined in the laboratory, it's not plastic. Canadian researcher Marianne Middleveen has determined that most of the fibers are keratin or collagen, which are human proteins. So in other words, these are not foreign objects. Your own body is making them. But the problem is why? Why is your body making this protein at the wrong place, at the wrong time, in the wrong quantity?
There is actually a term that doctors use for it. And that term is either, quote, the matchbox sign or specimen sign. And that is because patients will collect these fibers and bring them in to show their doctor. Like here, look, I pulled this out of my own frickin' skin. And most doctors don't believe them. They just tell them like, yeah, it's in your head, there's nothing there. There are a very few that will, like, believe them and listen to them and then investigate it, but majority of them don't.
All right, so what is this Morgellons disease? All right, so Morgellons disease is actually controversial. It's a condition that's characterized by individuals who believe that they have like fibers or unusual particles grown out of like their body. Ooh. And other people who has Morgellons disease, they also describe bugs like crawling out of their skin, like black bugs and stuff, and inside their body. So they're being like tormented by whatever this is. And they're not on drugs or anything. And the crazy thing is, I was listening to Coast AM where a guy on there, his name is Christopher Macklin. He's been studying like Morgellons disease for over 14 years. He's saying like these fibers are actually like alive. It's not dead. It's alive, and it's like a parasite that grows inside your body.
And it's not just coming out of people's skin either. People report headaches, fatigue, brain fog, memory problems, sleep issues, joint pain, and even heart rate irregularities. This is like affecting their whole body, for people with Morgellons disease. So here is where it gets like extremely infuriating. The mainstream scientific consensus is that Morgellons is basically a form of, quote, delusional infestation. Yeah, you heard me correctly. Basically, they're trying to say that it's a mental illness where someone falsely believes that they are infested with parasites.
Morgellons disease is a rare and controversial condition characterized by the sensation of fibers or particles emerging from the skin. Patients often report experiencing itching, burning, and the feeling that something is crawling under their skin, along with unusual lesions. Despite the physical symptoms, there is ongoing debate in the medical community about whether Morgellons is a distinct condition or a manifestation of psychological disorders, such as delusional parasitosis.
And the CDC's own big 2012 study concluded that there was no infectious cause and that the fibers were mainly made of cellulose. Or, likely just fibers from their own clothing getting embedded into the skin from all of the scratching that they do. And look, I'm not a doctor, so for some people, maybe that's true. But for the videos that I found online, I'm gonna go ahead and say no. That's not the answer. Because here's what gets me. That same research found that most Morgellons patients in their study also had other psychiatric conditions. So, right out of the gate, the framing is already on, these people are already mentally ill. So obviously this must be in their head too. And the complications that they list aren't just, we couldn't identify the cause. They list things like anxiety, depression, and social isolation from living with, Morgellons disease. And the treatment is an antipsychotic medication and a referral to psychiatry. That's literally it. They won't give you a parasite detox or anything that actually makes sense. They straight up treat this like it's a mental illness. You get a prescription for an antipsychotic medication and then you get a referral to a psychiatrist. Gee, thanks. Why don't you tell me you think I'm crazy without telling me that you think I'm crazy? And then they even, followed it up by saying that in at least one documented case, the patient just refused to go back. Yeah, I frickin' wonder why. Like, he's literally grabbing these fibers out of his body and putting them in a bag and bringing them to you, and you're like, yeah, no, it's in your head. You need to go see a psych. Like, come on, get some help, dog. It's crazy. Now, meanwhile, like I did already hint at, not everyone in the medical field agrees. Some researchers have proposed that it could actually be associated with, I am going to mispronounce the name of this bacteria, so like I'm just going to put it on screen for you, but that bacteria right there, okay? And this is the same bacteria that's behind Lyme disease. So you've got actual doctors going, wait, maybe there is something biological going on here.
Thousands of people claim they have fibers growing out of their skin. The CDC spent $600,000 investigating, and they found nothing, but some researchers found evidence they can't explain. In 2002, a mother in Pennsylvania noticed something very wrong with her 2-year-old son. He had sores all over his skin that wouldn't heal, and he kept telling her that there were bugs crawling under his skin. And when she looked closer at the sores, she saw something that seemed wild. There were these colored fibers embedded in the wounds, thread-like strands in red, blue, and black, actually protruding from his skin. Doctors told her it was a delusion. They said the fibers were just coming from the clothing, and that she was making her son sick by obsessing over imaginary symptoms. She didn't believe them, so she started a foundation to find those answers, and within 2 years, over 12,000 families had contacted her, all reporting the exact same symptoms. Fibers coming out of their skin, intense crawling sensations, painful sores that wouldn't heal, and all of them had been told by doctors that they were delusional. So, the CDC launched a $600,000 study. They examined 115 patients, took skin biopsies, analyzed blood and urine samples, and searched for infections, bacteria, fungus, and environmental toxins. They found nothing. According to the CDC, the fibers were just cotton and nylon from clothing. The wounds were self-inflicted from excessive scratching, and the crawling sensation was a psychiatric condition called delusional parasitosis. Essentially the belief that you're infested with parasites when you're not. Case closed, right? But the patients were genuinely suffering. Over 70% reported chronic fatigue, 59% had cognitive deficits, and many had depression or anxiety. Not everyone agrees it's purely delusional. Some researchers found evidence of actual nerve damage that could explain those crawling sensations. Damaged nerves misfiring and creating phantom feelings of insects moving under the skin. And in 2019, a study examined the fibers under powerful electron microscopes. Yes, some were clothing fibers, but others had cellular structures that were inconsistent with textiles, and some contained keratin and collagen, which suggested they might be biological in origin. So what is Morgellons disease? Is it a shared delusion, a real disease that mimics psychiatric symptoms, nerve damage creating tactile hallucinations, or something we don't quite understand yet? The most unsettling possibility is that it might be all of the above. Thousands of people are suffering from identical symptoms. They're pulling fibers from their skin, and they're feeling things crawling. Their wounds won't heal, and medical science still can't definitively explain why.
Very scared.
It's called Morgellons disease. The origin is unknown. What's truly bizarre? The disease produces strange fibers that emerge from the skin.
The X-Files? It's nothing short of that.
The symptoms are painful and even creepy.
The itching was so bad that it was painful.
Stinging, biting, crawling.
Using magnifying devices, they comb their bodies, examining what they say are outbreaks of the disease.
There's one.
You sit and you wonder what on earth could cause this.
And that's the big question about Morgellons disease. You see, most doctors don't recognize it as a disease at all. They say people who claim to have it are delusional, conjuring up parasites, scratching themselves, even planting textiles like cotton on themselves to feed the delusion.
I've had 17 visits with doctors over the past 3 years. All of them, except one, have basically laughed at me.
Nicole says doctors first thought her daughter Ashley had severe diaper rash until the lesions spread to her face.
She constantly thinks that there are bugs on her. And that's what it feels like. It feels like things are crawling underneath your skin.
I don't think these patients are crazy.
At Oklahoma State University in Tulsa, Dr. Rhonda Casey believes Morgellons is a genuine illness and takes precautions when examining Morgellons patients.
We don't know yet whether it's contagious.
Dr. Casey says all her patients exhibit the same types of lesions and scars. She says they are definitely not self-inflicted.
They all appeared to be eruptions more than scratched areas on their skin.
Dr. Casey has taken numerous fiber samples and says they're unlike anything she's ever seen.
They are not textile. They are not any known substance.
Dr. Casey was amazed by the mysterious fiber on Brian's hand and decided to have it tested. She tugs on it, but the fiber holds firm. Finally, it comes loose.
We took the whole plug of skin with it.
Dr. Casey and her colleague, Dr. Randy Wymore, take the samples to Tulsa's crime lab.
Morgellons fibers are not any known textile, cotton or rayon or nylon. Not any of those.
What's more, the fibers don't burn when exposed to high heat.
Have you ever done a fiber that didn't vaporize completely other than the Morgellons fiber?
No. Many in the medical community are nonetheless skeptical, but people who say they have Morgellons are desperate.
Look at the evidence. That's all we ask. Look at the evidence.
And then, of course, those few and far between doctors that are actually listening to their patients get drowned out by like the mainstream accepted narrative of it's all in your head. To put that plainly, what I'm saying is this. The CDC looked at people who were already dealing with depression and anxiety. They pointed at that, their history of those issues, and used it as their reason to not dig any deeper into the actual physical symptoms that these patients were experiencing. And the doctors who did dig deeper, the ones who tested the fibers and who ran the labs, they found real biological material, Lyme bacteria DNA, in the samples, and they still got drowned out. So on one hand, you've got the government saying, you're just mentally ill, here's an antipsychotic. And on the other, you've got independent doctors saying, no, there's something physically inside of these people. And whatever is physically inside of these people contains the same bacteria found in Lyme disease. So is there a connection? And if so, what could it possibly be? Or what could it possibly mean? Well, unfortunately, nobody really knows for sure. Because, of course, not enough research has been done on this topic. And here's why. Every time an independent doctor tries to start their own investigation into Morgellons, they become the laughingstock of the medical community. Like, it is essentially career suicide to even entertain Morgellons as a real physical condition that real people are actually suffering from. Like, if any doctor in the United States doesn't just automatically write it off as a psychiatric issue that needs, antipsychotics and therapy to be treated, they get written off as a quack. So it's essentially follow the mainstream, narrative on Morgellons or lose your career. And, all the respect that you have, so forth gained within your community. And you ultimately will get written off as a quack. And all of this means, of course, that unfortunately, the people who are suffering from Morgellons cannot get the answers that they so rightfully deserve. And the doctors who are willing to look for those answers, well, at a certain point, they can't afford to keep looking. But this is where I need to introduce John Kaness into our story. And if you saw my video last week, or if you, paused the video at the beginning and went and watched that one first, like I suggested, then you already know about John Kaness because we talked about him last week. Now, as a quick summary and a slight addition, because we didn't actually discuss this last week because I didn't want to give it away too much of where we were going this week, but John Kaness has essentially been trying to prove that parasites have been sprayed in the chemtrails and have been sprayed in the air and now are falling to the ground all around us. And he's collected samples of the air, snow, water, etc. around his home, and he's put it under a microscope, and he's observed these Morgellon parasitic-like creatures in the snow and in the water and in the whatever around his house, right?
Insane. Oh my God. That's what's in our snow, and it grows. That's my point here. Look at that. Look at that.
Now, what I didn't tell you last week is that parasite that he saw in the snow that I put on screen, he is claiming is a Morgellon. And John Kaness also is a patient, and he personally suffers from Morgellons disease. And over on Facebook, he has been documenting his experience with Morgellons disease for a very long time. Not only, his suffering with Morgellons, but also other people that he knows that also have Morgellons disease. And he has personally been recording and uploading videos to his Facebook page showing these fibers being found on the ground outside, on top of leaves and stuff. Crazy. Don't worry, I will show you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's not good. Today's snow, last night's snow, it's still snowing. This is fresh snow taken from somewhere not under trees. Okay, hang on a sec. Let me get this into focus for you. Into the center of the picture, there is a Morgellon. Now, traditionally called Morgellon. It appears this disease came out about 15 years ago, was tested on certain segments of the population, and doctors have been telling people they're crazy anytime they bring this up. You should have seen what my doctor did in 2019. It was quite the song and dance she did to convince me that this is not real, and this is not in my skin, and this is not in my body. This is fresh snow melt. You'll notice it does not all. There's a giant one. Okay? That's no hair. It's just not made out of poly like many of these are. So the poly glows back in 365 nm UV light.
So, in the backyard, this is so disturbing because you can there's nothing, right? Nothing. And then I'm doing the black light. Whoa. What the is that?
And he's doing this live sometimes. Sometimes it's uploaded videos, but most of the time he's live. It's not a description and not a theory. He's doing it on camera and showing this on camera. Now you understand that we really have real people with real fibers that real doctors can see, mind you, getting told that the baggie is empty and it's all in their head. Fine, sure, whatever you say, Doc. Let's say, just for shiggles and for the sake of argument, that these fibers really are just random. An unidentified material, cellulose, whatever you want to call it. But if that is the case, then I of course have one question. Where would something like that even come from in the first place? Because that's not natural, not in my opinion anyway. And as it turns out, there's an answer to that question. And let me pre-warn you, it is a lot bigger than, a doctor ignored skin condition. So prepare yourselves. Now let's move into our next mini-series topic. And for this next topic, we're going to have to briefly zoom out for just a moment. Because what I'm about to tell you and what we're about to get into is not just a theory. This is documented, published, and openly funded by our own government. Because of course it is. And it is called smart dust. Now, don't worry, I am going to slow down and actually walk you through what this is. Because if you're anything like me, then I can pretty much guarantee that most of you have probably never heard of this before today. Because I personally hadn't until I started researching this topic last week and then a little more this week. So, let's start all the way at the beginning. The actual concept of smart dust goes all the way back to 1992, and its sources to a workshop at RAND, R-A-N-D. And if you don't know, that is basically a think tank that has done research for the US military for decades. And out of that came a series of studies through the mid-90s, funded by DARPA, which is, of course, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. And it was funded by DARPA specifically because of the military applications. So this is American. This is our own government, from the jump. You need to understand that.
Smart dust is a term used to describe tiny micro-electromechanical devices, so small they look like dust.
Researchers at UCLA and the University of Michigan worked on early versions of this. Then, in 1997, 3 professors at UC Berkeley, Chris Pister, Joe Kahn, and Bernard Bozer, probably messed up one of those names, if not multiple of them, all came together and put together a proposal, essentially asking one question. Could you build a fully functional wireless sensor? Something with a sensor, or a tiny computer, and a way to communicate wirelessly. And then fit the entire thing into 1 cubic millimeter. And essentially have the whole device be smaller than a grain of rice by the time you're done with it. So in layman's terms, they wanted to make a tiny computer, and in that computer a way to communicate wirelessly, and then have it all be smaller than a grain of rice. And DARPA funded this project in 1998. And Chris Pister is the guy who actually coined the term smart dust. Or at least he has widely been credited as the inventor. So, to answer the direct question, yes, a government agency, more specifically DARPA, funded the invention of this smart dust technology from a university research team. And of course, officially we were told it was for military use. So, what does it actually do? Well, the original idea was a network made up of thousands, maybe even millions, of these tiny sensor, motes scattered into an environment, all talking to each other, measuring things like temperature, vibration, movement, and even pollutants. Basically, turning an entire area into an invisible surveillance network.
The inevitability of smart dust. So what is smart dust? Well, smart dust, of course, isn't a new concept. It originated with DARPA back in the 90s. And it's general purpose computing, sensors, wireless networking, all bundled up into millimeter scale sensor modes, drifting in the air currents, flecks of computing power settling on your skin, ingested, monitoring you inside and out. And you haven't really seen anything yet. So this is closer to the end of the vision. This powder-sized chip, and that's a salt crystal. So this is a small thing. It's something called the Mu chip from Hitachi. It's the smallest commercially available RFID system in the world, and can be pulse-powered by radio waves. It doesn't require a battery. You can literally scatter this stuff like dust, or embed it into a sheet of paper. And you know what the really interesting thing about this technology is? This was commercially released 10 years ago. We're still essentially at the banging the rocks together stage for this sort of stuff. And you haven't really seen anything yet.
The US Army actually tested this. They used smart dust to track the speed and direction of over 100 military vehicles in a field test.
It's a project first dreamed up by the military to get information from the battlefield.
They call it smart dust, and the new technology may soon make it possible to keep track of anything, anywhere, including you.
I learned about something that I wish that I didn't learn about thanks to this person. Look up smart dust. I didn't know what smart dust was. Did you? I didn't. We're going to get into it. I'm very uncomfortable right now. Smart dust technology, a whole bunch of microscopic sensors that are often no larger than a grain of sand that can detect, process, and transmit data about their environment. They're deployed in large quantities to form expansive sensor networks for various applications. What are those applications, you ask? Oh, no big deal. It's just used for environmental factors like light temperature, vibration, chemicals, and it's also primarily used in industrial, environmental, agriculture, and military surveillance operations. Nothing to see here. I was just, curious. So I was like, is it being used? Yes. These are currently in use, primarily in controlled research, industrial, and defense settings. Defense settings. They have cameras by chance? Yes. Yes, they do. These can detect the presence of people or vehicles. If you thought the Dior bags were the only thing that we had to worry about, nope, there's all these little tiny microscopic cameras in the sky too. So, as always, I look forward to hearing your thoughts about all this down below. This is not a conspiracy, but this is for entertainment purposes only. All right, bye.
Now, here is where it gets personal, like literally. That same concept, scattering tiny wireless sensors to monitor something or like really a whole population, eventually got applied to the human body. And it's called neural dust. And this is where you need to pay close attention, because the mechanics on this thing are absolutely freaking wild. These neural dust motes are tiny. Forget a grain of rice. We're talking about the size of a large grain of sand, sometimes even smaller. And here, my friends, is how they actually work. Each one has a crystal inside of it. A piezoelectric crystal, to be more specific, and yes, I know I probably butchered the name of that crystal. But essentially, that's just a material that converts vibration into electricity.
This is a crystal of sugar. If you press on it, it'll actually generate its own electricity. How can this simple crystal act like a tiny power source? Because sugar is piezoelectric. Piezoelectric materials turn mechanical stress, like pressure, sound waves, and other vibrations into electricity, and vice versa. They discovered that if they compressed thin slices of certain crystals, positive and negative charges would appear on opposite faces. This difference in charge, or voltage, meant that the compressed crystal could drive current through a circuit like a battery. And it worked the other way around too. Running electricity through these crystals made them change shape. Both of these results, turning mechanical energy into electrical and electrical energy into mechanical, were...
So there's no battery. Instead, a device outside of your body sends ultrasound pulses, or essentially like sound waves, through your skin and tissue. And when those sound waves hit the crystal inside the mote, it generates enough electricity to power a tiny transitor that's sitting right up against a nerve, or maybe even a muscle fiber, like inside your body. So as the electrical activity in your nerve naturally changes, it changes the vibration of that crystal, which then changes the echo that bounces back to the same device that sent the ultrasound to the crystal in the first place. That, my friends, is called backscatter. And that is how they read your nerve activity wirelessly. With no battery, no wires, nothing ever being implanted inside of you except this tiny mote, smaller than a grain of sand, that's just sitting there. And has been for Yah only knows how long.
Have you ever wondered about the enigmatic universe that exists within our skulls? The human brain, a 3-pound mass of jelly, holds the secrets of our consciousness, our thoughts, our emotions. But what if technology could help us unlock these secrets? Welcome to the world of neural dust. A concept so futuristic it sounds like it belongs in a science fiction novel, but it's real, and it could revolutionize our understanding of the brain and beyond. Neural dust refers to tiny wireless sensors, each smaller than a grain of sand. These minuscule marvels can be implanted directly into the brain. There they detect and transmit electrical signals from individual brain cells or neurons. Imagine that, a front row seat to the symphony of our neural activity. But how do these tiny particles work? They're powered by ultrasound waves. These waves penetrate the skull, reach the sensors, and power them up. The sensors then pick up electrical signals from the neurons, convert them into ultrasound waves, and send them back out of the brain. These waves are captured by an external device, translated back into electrical signals, and voila, we have a real-time picture of the brain at work. Now, why does this matter? Because this technology holds the potential to revolutionize neuroscience. Neural dust could help us unravel the mysteries of neurological disorders such as Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and epilepsy. By monitoring the brain's activity, we could learn more about these conditions, possibly leading to more effective treatments and therapies. But the potential of neural dust extends beyond the brain. Imagine using these tiny sensors to monitor other vital organs in the body. The heart, the lungs, the liver. They could all reveal their secrets with the help of neural dust. This could open up a world of possibilities for personalized medicine and healthcare. However, it's not all smooth sailing. Neural dust, like any revolutionary technology, faces its own set of challenges. The tiny size of the sensors makes them difficult to manufacture and implant. The use of ultrasound waves to power the sensors and transmit data presents its own set of complexities. And let's not forget the ethical and privacy concerns that come with implanting sensors into the human body. In summary, neural dust is a groundbreaking technology with immense potential. It could transform neuroscience, pave the way for new treatments for neurological disorders, and open up new possibilities for personalized medicine. But it's still in its early stages, with many challenges to overcome before it can become a widely used technology. So, as we delve deeper into the mysteries of the brain and the human body, neural dust could be a key player, promising a future where we understand ourselves and our health better than ever before. Only time will tell how this exciting technology shapes our future.
In 2002, Israeli researchers discovered that there are two types of crystals in the human pineal gland. These crystals respond to something known as the piezoelectric effect. The piezoelectric effect is created by mechanical stress placed upon a crystal.
And then once they have control, who's to say what they could do? Like, your nervous system powers your whole body. So, it's pretty freaking horrifying. And like I said, this isn't science fiction. Berkeley researchers actually proved that this technology works. They implanted, these neural motes in the muscles and nerves of live rats. And then they successfully recorded and transmitted real live electrical signal data wirelessly in real time.
This is why you need to know about neural dust. The tech that could let you control machines just by thinking. It's not sci-fi anymore. Tiny sensors called neural dust float through your brain, reading, recording, and even sending signals. DARPA and UC Berkeley are building the future mind-controlled devices, editable memories, and direct brain-to-internet links. But as the tech gets smarter, who controls your thoughts? The brain internet is coming. Are you ready?
And it's not just, read only. Because that same connection point, the transitor pressed up against the nerve, or maybe even a muscle, can also be used to stimulate it. Or, in other words, send a signal into the nerve, not just pull one out. Researchers have actually talked about this being used for things like treating epilepsy or calming inflammation by stimulating nerves directly. Which, of course, sounds great on the surface. They always have to make this creepy, sci-fi technology legal for, great sounding reasons, of course.
Imagine a future where a grain of sand could monitor your brain, your heart, or even detect disease before symptoms appear. This is not science fiction, it is neural dust. At its core are piezoelectric crystals, converting ultrasonic waves into electrical signals, and biocompatible coatings, ensuring long-term safety within the body. Powered by ultrasonic waves, these tiny sensors deliver wireless, real-time insights into the body, revolutionizing medicine. From managing chronic pain and enhancing prosthetics, to monitoring organs and advancing brain-computer interfaces, Neural dust is unlocking possibilities once thought impossible. As science marches forward, neural dust merges cutting-edge technology with biology, paving the way for safer, more personalized healthcare.
Imagine a world where your heartbeat powers your devices. Enter the realm of piezoelectric nanogenerators, a groundbreaking technology harnessing the body's kinetic energy. These tiny devices convert mechanical energy from movements like walking or even a heartbeat into electrical energy. This innovation could revolutionize wearable tech, making batteries obsolete. Picture charging your smartwatch just by living your daily life. Beyond convenience, it offers sustainable energy solutions, reducing reliance on traditional power sources. As this technology advances, it promises a future where our very existence fuels our gadgets, seamlessly integrating life and technology.
But that is until you ask more questions and you dig a little bit deeper. Because as soon as you start critically thinking about this, the whole system and idea of it pretty much falls apart. Because who else might want a way to send a signal directly into a human's nervous system? With, of course, no surgery required to do so. No thanks, I don't want my body to be able to be hacked like my frickin' computer can.
We are so cooked, okay? Have you ever heard of neural dust? I'm sure you've heard of neural implants, but neural dust is a biocomponent that's about the size of a big grain of sand that you inhale. And it's supposed to help with people who have epilepsy, it's supposed to help with people who have diabetes, and it's supposed to help nerve control with people with prosthetics. But it's made by DARPA, one of the most hellish organizations on the planet. And it's giving MK Ultra mind control. And you may think that's insane, right? But they are already manipulating our nervous systems through screens. Here's the patent for it. It's been around since about 2001. You know we are so fucked when we can't even eat the poisonous food that we are given that are at grocery stores. We can barely even watch the news because everything is a narrative and manipulation. And now I'm afraid to breathe oxygen. What a time to be alive.
Alright, if you're an inherently paranoid person, do not watch this video. This video is about neural dust, which is one of the coolest but also scariest types of BCIs. BCI stands for brain-computer interface. Basically, it's any type of device that lets your brain and a computer communicate. Most popular example of a BCI right now is Neuralink, which is like a wire with a bunch of electrical nodes that requires actually being put into your brain to work. Obviously super invasive, but neural dust is a lot different. Neural dust particles are tiny electrical circuits containing a piezoelectric crystal. Now, I don't need to get too into the weeds technically in this video but basically these electrical components take in ultrasound and they produce electrical frequencies, and more importantly, they can actually modulate that ultrasound based off the electrical input that they're receiving. What this means is that when they're in the brain, ultrasound can be used to transmit and receive information. They also don't require a battery, and they're around 10 nanometers, which means that they can cross the blood-brain barrier. So neural dust is the first type of BCI that can actually be implanted in someone's brain using only a nasal spray. So this right here is the first type of BCI that you could literally just inhale and kind of contract. So I know there's a lot of talk about if you would or if you wouldn't get Neuralink, but with something like neural dust, you might get it by accident.
That's horrifying, right? Nope, I'm good. And of course, DARPA didn't stop there. They ran a follow-up program called N3, or also known as Next Generation Non-Surgical Neurotechnology. And the entire stated goal was a two-way channel between the human brain and a machine, without surgery. And they wanted this to be, for read and write, both directions. So they wanted to be able to not only pull information and ideas out of your nervous system, but also be able to put information and ideas into your nervous system. Oh joy, thanks. That sounds great. Why don't we keep doing this Frankenstein sci-fi work? That sounds fabulous. So just to quickly recap what we actually know now, this smart dust and neural dust technology was invented in America by a government-funded research team. It was invented openly and specifically for military surveillance, at least at first. And then it evolved over time into something small enough to interface directly with the human nervous tissue. Because of course, it always expands. If we've learned anything, it's that. It can now be externally powered by sound waves, and it is capable of both reading your body's signals and sending signals back into it. And this has all been documented and all been publicly published. So it is not a conspiracy theory, not just like crazy internet jargon either. This has been proven and it's factual. It exists.
Okay, this question here, 100% right. There is no mask that's ever going to protect you from this stuff. It is so microscopically small. It's a video that I had in part 3 that talks about how small that mute chip is, and that's M-O-T-E. That's how it's spelled, so when you do your research, look for it. It said that chip was the size of a grain of salt. Smaller than a grain of salt. Now this new chip that Samsung came out with in 2020, even smaller than that. So there is no mask, there is nothing that can protect us from it. In fact, in some of the research that I've been reading, and they talk about how it could be weaponized, they say there's no way to even trace who put it out there. So if it's weaponized, we're fucked. But he's 100% right.
Now here's the question that should be sitting in the back of your mind. If this technology exists, and it's small enough to be called quote-unquote dust, and it doesn't, need surgery to get inside of your body, how would you actually go about getting it into millions of people? Without, anyone consenting to an implant, of course, because I think the government knows that we would never do that. So, in my opinion, and in this, dystopian reality that we are imagining that is totally not factual and not real at all, I think that they would find a way to do it without consenting people. Because, what do they need your consent for? What is consent? It's exactly what we learned last week with the WEF forcibly giving people AGS and alpha-gal syndrome. You know what I'm talking about? Because nobody would voluntarily give up meat, so they have to just make you allergic to it. Consent is not really needed, at least as far as the American government is concerned. Allegedly, of course, and all my opinion. Now, what if I told you that there's actually a delivery method that's been hiding in plain sight for decades? And you've probably heard people, talk about it and then get laughed at for doing so. And if you watched my last week's video, then you already know what delivery system I am referring to. But for those of you who didn't, and just because I need to fully explain this, obviously, let's get back into it and go a little bit deeper than we did last week. Like I said, we're building over here. This is where the chemtrails and the geoengineering weather comes into play. And look, I already know that chemtrail word makes some people just immediately roll their eyes. But like I said last week, please just stick with me. Because the patent trail on this one alone is wild. There's a documented list of patents going back over a century. And I mean that literally, from the 1920s. For things like producing artificial clouds and, fogs from aircraft, atomizing attachments for airplane engines, and aerial spraying of liquids. And of course, it doesn't stop in the past. It's not like they started this in the 1920s and then, called it quitsies by 1923. Yeah, right. There are patents from just the last few years for things like methods of geoengineering to reduce solar radiation. Because they have to make it sound better nowadays, right? And electromagnetic systems to modify weather. So, the technology and the legal paperwork for spray stuff from planes to alter the atmosphere, that's not really a theory either. Like, there is a actual, like, documented paper trail that anyone with a computer and access to the internet can pull up. And that paper trail has been, like, documented by the same government who did it, okay? Like, let me just throw that one out there. Now, the patents for, like, the chemtrails and spraying stuff from the planes, that exists, that's there, that's historically, like, proven since 1920, like I just said. But what's actually in that spray is where this conversation gets a little murky, and where, like, the disagreement is real. Some people who've worked in aviation have come forward describing missions that they were told were specifically for weather modification, or, you know, pointing to soil and precipitation testing showing elevated levels of metals like aluminum and barium. You know, concentrations that they say can't be explained by normal pollution.
So people in Texas were just testing what was in the new snow that was on the ground. Aluminum, barium, strontium, lead, mercury, sulfur compounds, nitrogens, and pH. But guys, it gets so much worse, because what? Apparently this woman kept posting this on the Instagram and it kept getting taken down. These aren't trace elements. These are toxic chemical compounds known to harm the brain, nervous system, and environment. You're not crazy for asking questions. You're crazy if you stay silent. So people are basically questioning if this was in the snow on purpose. A lot of people are saying there's a lot of pollutants in snow, probably from factories and just cars and a bunch of things like that. Some people are saying, like, this is done on purpose, which that's a whole different story. People are simply just saying about that snow getting millions of views. I just think it's crazy that it's literally an exact list of the most toxic things, like mercury, lead. So don't eat snow anymore.
Tested the rain. 13,100 micrograms per liter of aluminum in the rain in 2013. Normally, it should be 0. So 13,100 is pretty damn much, folks. It used to be 0, then it was 100s in the 2000s, and then since 2010, it's into the 1000s and the latest 13,100. In the snow on Mount Shasta, pristine Mount Shasta, 61,000 feet, no, excuse me, 8,000 foot level, 61,000 micrograms per liter, 4 times the amount that is found in the soil up there. Where in the hell is this stuff coming from if it's not coming from the soil? You know, these tests are international in scope. We're seeing this all over the world, guys. Okay, pH of acid soils is 20 times more alkaline. The aluminum in the soil has doubled in the last 10 years. Aluminum blocks essential nutrients. I am unable in my garden to restore normal pH, and that's because nanoparticles are now in the circulatory systems of both plants and humans. So welcome, fellow guinea pigs.
But officially, at the same time, the mainstream explanation is that what people are seeing are just contrails. You know, normal condensation trails coming from jet engines and nothing more. And for some of what's being sprayed in the sky, that may be true. But majority of it is definitely not contrails that, like, will dissipate after a moment. I think we can all be honest about that fact.
Chemtrails. And chemtrails, by the way, barium salts are in chemtrails. They are 10,000 times more toxic to your nervous system than lead. They contain mycobacteria, viruses, Pseudomonas florensis bacteria, human plasma. Wonder what human plasma is doing in chemtrails. And this is not by conjecture. I did a lot of research before I'd ever say this, but these chemtrails are nasty. And there's 3 reasons for chemtrails. The first is and I talked to my NSA buddies at Fort Carson, Peterson Air Force Base, and Buckley, where I was actually their doctor taking care of the pilots flying and spraying the chemtrails. So I know it's real. If anybody says it's not real, they're full of it. Okay, because I'm a whistleblower. On the inside, it's not open for discussion. And my NSA buddies told me, 95% of them told me, they were up there trying to spray to reflect the sun out to stop global warming. So most of them are dumb enough to believe that garbage. Okay? And also in the chemtrails, and there's a link directly that Jeff Francis found out, and I'm going to have Dr. Staninger and Dr. Carjou on in about a week on my radio show. And I've done some investigations, and there's very solid evidence now that Morgellons is caused by a silicon-based nanomachine life form that does not originate on planet Earth. Is that not interesting? This is a silicon-based life form that is intelligent like bees or ants, and it fights back. Conversion of the atmosphere into a plasma for weather modification, geotectonic warfare, scalar mind control technologies, the woodpecker, which has been discovered back in the 70s, HARP, the Tetris system in the United Kingdom, Gwen towers in the United States, and the Iridium satellite system connected to the cell towers and the smart highways is all based on not only sending out a signal to track you, but Nokia, which is one of the leading cell companies, has figured out a new way to cut down the need for increasing the amount of signal by 3 to 5 times as many cell phones in the same signal area by beaming the signal directly to you. But they can also, besides the cell signal, they can actually have a biocoded signal to your DNA to affect your physiology and insert thoughts into your mind. And they have this technology today.
Remember John Keynes and how he had documented fibers falling from the sky? Well, maybe not like documenting them falling from the sky, but he documented them on the ground and like proved that they had been falling, okay? Because as we discussed earlier, John Keynes has footage of exactly that. Fibers showing up in snowfall, not on someone's skin this time, but like in the actual precipitation. And, you know, falling from the sky alongside everything else. So follow this with me. If something dust size, you know, smaller than a grain of sand, and specifically designed to interface with the human body, needed a way or a delivery system or, you know, a delivery mechanism to reach millions of people at once, and if there's already a documented, patented infrastructure for dispersing material into the atmosphere, and if people are finding unidentified fibers in their snow and rain, I mean, 2 + 2 = 4, okay? Like, I'm not saying that these things are abso-frickin-lutely connected, but like, I'm also not saying that at the same time, right? You picking up what I'm laying down?
What are the chances that this came from chemtrails?
And there is one researcher who has personally spent decades trying to figure out the answer to exactly that question. That's if we even really need it answered, because like 2 + 2 = 4 for me, the math is mathing, but sure, let's get more proof, why not? So, there is a researcher named Clifford Carnicom. Probably butchered that too. The only thing I probably got right is Clifford, so we'll just call him Clifford. And he has been looking into this exact connection for decades. And his work is the bridge between, you know, fibers falling from the sky and this might already be inside each and every one of you. So, Clifford actually did something pretty bold. Years ago, he took an airborne filament sample, you know, one of these unidentified fibers collected from the sky, and sent it to the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, requesting an official identification and analysis on behalf of the public. Fair, right? Like, this shit's raining from the sky, we have a right to know what it is, I think. And the EPA refused to identify it. Straight up refused. Sit with that for a second. Like a government agency whose literal entire job is to protect the environment and public health was handed an identified airborne looking like parasitic substance and just straight up declined to say what it was. That seems legit. At least in this fucking weird, fucked up reality we're all living in nowadays.
And you tell me you're going to accept the highest level administrator position coming back to you saying, we don't have to do anything. We don't have to do anything from you unless I ask for it. Me being now the administrator of the EPA. I don't have to touch anything you present to me unless I ask you for it. Sorry, that's wrong. That's where the courtroom needed to be, never was.
So Clifford, being about as determined as the rest of us are, kept going. And what he found is honestly the part of this story that gives me chills. He compared the structures of those airborne fibers to characteristics of Morgellons fibers. You know, the ones that we talked earlier about coming out of people's skin and then them putting them into baggies and then doctors trying to say that bag's empty, bro, go get your head checked, you're crazy. Yeah, those fibers. And he also matched them to anomalies that he was finding in human blood samples, like from all around America. And he says that the form, the size, and the structure are essentially all a match. Or in layman's terms, they're all the same thing, found from 3 different places. One sample came from the air, the other came from a Morgellons patient's skin, and the other came from blood samples of random Americans, all around the 50 connected US states. Clifford calls these structures cross-domain bacteria, since he found them from multiple different sources. Makes sense, right? And other researchers who have tried to culture and then grow these fibers all say the same thing. They replicate, they have structure, and they behave like something that was engineered. Or like, purposefully built in a lab. Not something that occurs naturally. Which, that's huge for them to say. And here's the part that connects everything. Other researchers working alongside Clifford describe this as something now showing up in nearly everyone's blood samples. Everyone. Whether they've been, vaccinated or not. So, the jab isn't the source. He's not just finding them in Morgellons patients. And he's not just finding them in a small group of quote-unquote sensitive people, but everyone. Every frickin' one. You, me, the old lady down the street, your dog, your cat, everyone. Everyone. Let that sink in.
Summary statements are that all evidence shows that this living entity, you could call it bacterial-like if you're trying to describe it. You'd want to think of something as a bacterial nature. Technical again, so you're talking of something that's sub-micron level in this case, so it's even a very small bacterial-like form. I gave a term to it because of the lack of attention after a great appeal of cross-domain bacteria. It has many, many interesting aspects to it. However, the summary statement would be that all evidence indicates or points to the fact that this particular microorganism now affects all life on this planet in a detrimental fashion. That would be the summary statement. So that should give us something to wonder about. How the heck is he saying something like that?
As we're getting to the end of this discussion, there is this astonishing link between something that has been described as Morgellons, which every time you use that word you put in quotes, which I want you to explain why. But that refers most often to a skin disease where certain filaments protrude through the skin, along with perhaps some other weird creatures. And what you found, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the filaments that you extracted from the samples of air and soil and water over the years were identical matches to those filaments that are part of a syndrome described as Morgellons. So, is that true?
You have summarized and you have stated the truth of the matter very well. This is exactly the case. In our earlier discussion, I focused on the environmental aspect and the failure of one of our agencies to act from an environmental standpoint. But yes, the evolution of the work reaches the conclusion that there is an identical match.
You determine that this biological agent has basically invaded every aspect of the biosphere that you could look at. And every time that you look, you see that it creates havoc. So just in closing, explain some of the havoc that this filament is providing for life on this planet?
I would actually have to describe it as an assault on almost every front you could think of. I mean, there's so many things that I don't know about, but on most any front I can think of, it looks like you've got an assault that's taking place. So let's start simple, and you can start working through the entire body, and you're going to run into a problem almost anywhere you go.
It's like a quick recap here, because this is insane, I know. We have documented government-funded, dust-sized or smaller than a grain of sand-sized technology that was designed to interface with the human body. We've got a documented, patent-backed infrastructure for dispersing material into the atmosphere. We've got fibers showing up in precipitation and in people's skin. And we've got an independent researcher whose sample the EPA wouldn't even identify, finding that those same airborne fibers match what's showing up in Morgellons patients' skin and in blood samples across the board. 3 different sources coming from 3 different places, and all of them containing the same structure. And of course, per usual, nobody official wants to explain why. Other than, go see a psychiatrist. Because that bag is empty, dog. So now, we get to ask the real question. The one that I personally can't stop thinking about. If this stuff really is already inside people, in the air, in our skin, and even in our blood, why? What is this actually for? What's the point? I need to know. Let's get into it. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to think. I think you already know that. Because honestly, there's more than just one angle that kind of makes everything make sense to me. And they're not even mutually exclusive. So let me just list a few, and then you guys can decide what makes sense to you. So, angle 1. It's a control grid. Not they're watching you specifically, but more like everyone becomes a node in a network. It doesn't matter who you are, what you believe, or even what you do. The value isn't in any one person's data. It's that everyone, everywhere, is part of the same system. You're not necessarily the target, you're the infrastructure. Angle 2. It's about behavior, not just data. And I say that because remember that DARPA program that wasn't just quote, read the brain or read what your nervous system is saying or take information from your nervous system, right? It was a 2-way loop. They were not only taking information, but depositing information as well. So what if this isn't about collecting information? What if it's about influence? Mood, stress, responses, and compliance. Not necessarily mind control like we see in the movies, but more like a dial or a subtle nudge at, a population level that nobody would ever be able to point to and say, that is why I felt this way. Pretty creepy, right? We're not done yet. Angle 3. And this one is, it's not really for anything, at least yet. This one, while is kind of the hardest one for me to believe, because I don't think that they would start building all this if it wasn't really for anything or if it didn't have a purpose yet. But it's also probably the creepiest one for me as well, or the one that actually unsettles me the most. And that's simply because the question itself is eerie. What if the why doesn't exist yet? What if this is just infrastructure laid down now for whenever someone decides that they want to use it in the future? It's just a data trap for a just in case I want to lock you guys in 15-minute cities, or just in case I want to have more control later, or I don't really know what I want it for yet, but I just want it there just in case. I don't know why, but that one is just so creepy to me. Like the fact that maybe they didn't ask why build the network, at least not while they're building it. They would just ask that when it's time to like actually turn it on and kick it into use. But like I said, I don't think I believe that one, because like, how do you build something if you don't know what you're using it for? You know what I mean? Doesn't make sense to me. Then lastly, we have angle 4. And this one essentially is that the harm is the whole point. Maybe, just maybe, this isn't about control at all. Hear me out. Maybe it's about degradation. You know, chronic illness, fatigue, fertility issues, another way for population control, you know, all of it. And then, you know, their quote unquote control is just the cover story for something that's really about reducing us and like reducing numbers, you know, reducing overall health and, you know, the population. I don't know. Like I said, maybe it's none of those. Maybe it's a little bit of all of them. I really don't personally know, but I just wanted to present you with like a few different angles as to what could be the purpose of all of this. So like maybe it's a control grid, or like behavioral influence, future infrastructure, or harm as like the whole intended goal. Maybe it's just one of these. Maybe it's a mix of them. Or maybe it's something that none of us has even thought of yet. I genuinely don't know. And I think that that's kind of the whole point of this video. Like, I never sit here and make these to just hand you guys an answer, but instead to hand you the pieces and just let you sit with it and put it together how like it makes sense for you. I never think my opinion is right, and I never just want to force my opinion down your throat. I want to give you guys all of the puzzle pieces, and then you show me what beautiful frickin' masterpiece you guys made, because sometimes, actually correction, most of the time, y'all come up with crazier theories than like I could even think of, or like you add to mine in ways that make it make so much sense. So please let me know. Like, where does your mind go with all of this? Drop a comment, let me know. So let's bring this all the way back home for a second. We started with real people, you know, suffering with something that doctors won't even acknowledge as a real disease. We then moved to connect that to actual documented, government-funded technology designed to live inside the human body and talk to your nervous system. We looked at documented infrastructure for putting things into the atmosphere at scale for decades. And we looked at a researcher who found that the fibers in the sky, the fibers in Morgellons patients, and anomalies in blood from Americans all around the United States all match. And then, of course, ultimately got stonewalled by the EPA when he tried to get an official answer. Because of course he did, right? Of course he did. Now, I know you guys like this part, so what do I think? Honestly, out of the 4 angles that we talked about already, the control grid, the behavioral influence, you know, the future infrastructure, or just harm as being the outright ultimate goal, there's not just like one that sits with me the most, like I kind of hinted at earlier, but rather it's kind of a combination of them all. Like, they want, you know, the smart dust to be out there as like a digital control grid, and for them to ultimately like be everywhere, see everywhere, and have control of everyone and everything at all times, right? It's of course behavioral influence, because why else would they want to attack the nervous system inside your body other than to manipulate your behaviors and like your personal mood and like stuff like that, right? Like, it's obviously a manipulation for behavioral stuff, like obviously, right? And then I definitely think that it's going to be used as like harm as the main #1 goal in like future infrastructure. I think it's definitely going to be used in the future. I just don't think that they don't know what they're building it for. Like, I think they absolutely know what they're building it for, or they wouldn't be spending so much time and money building it, obviously. But what if they want to get these like smart dust motes and like, you know, neural dust motes into your body and connected to your nervous system, because they want to have like sleeper agents all over the world, in a sense, right? Like, they just like flip a switch and now they can control whoever's nervous system at any point in the day. Kind of scary, right?
And the crazy thing is, I was listening to Coast AM, where a guy on there, his name is Christopher Macklin. He's been studying like Morgellons disease for over 14 years. he's saying like these fibers are actually like alive. It's not dead. It's alive, and it's like a parasite that grows inside your body, and it feeds off like the inside of your body. But not only that, it's like it's a technology. Like it's not even like
it's not even organic.
It's not even like an organic thing. It's like a machine. He's saying like, holy shit, this is like a technology. He's saying that the gray aliens were the one that gave like this technology to the U.S. government, and the U.S. government is using this technology on the humans.
But of course, it goes further. So in this one, they said, can they understand the inner monologue, the things you're saying to yourself in your own mind? Mind you, by the way, when you dream, like your visual cortex runs in reverse, so your dreams are no longer safe. But we'll try this. So they had people watch a video and just narrate what was going on in the video in their mind. So there's a woman, she's hit in the back, she falls over. This is what the computer reconstructed the person thinking. See a girl, looks just like me, get hit in the back, and then she is knocked off. So our thoughts, are starting to be decoded. Yeah, just think about what this means for authoritarian states, for instance. Or if you want to generate images that maximally activate your pleasure sensor, anything else.
Did you know that there's over 40 mind control patents? Starting back in the 1950s, these patents came out for mind control using movies, TV, frequencies, different apparatuses. What do you think they're doing now if technology started back in the 1950s? Go ahead, save this video, come back, screenshot, and type in these patents, and you'll be like, makes sense now.
Because I was thinking maybe it's for biological warfare, where they can make a weapon specifically for somebody's genetic code and for their DNA, right? But if Clifford's research is to be believed, which I think it is, there's a lot there, then it wouldn't be needed to be specific for each person's DNA, because they're not just putting it in specific people, they're putting it in everybody, allegedly, right? So what if it's just to activate sleeper agents, or to I don't know, put a haze over our eyes and lock us into the holographic, matrix, if you will, in the future, when they Neo us for real and put us in our matrix pods for real, and then they just give us a holographic reality through these frickin' nano chips being sprayed through frickin' dust particles in the air and in the fog and in the chemtrails and stuff. Not factual, not what's actually going on, obviously. That is 100% a conspiracy theory, and really just my opinion. It's just thoughts I'm having as I'm sitting here recording this. But what if, right? Those sound horrifying to me and very plausible if this technology is to be believed for what it is and actually works the way that this research says that it did. Obviously, I don't know, because I didn't patent this smart dust or neural dust. I didn't make it, I didn't patent it, I didn't come up with it, I don't work in the government. I don't know. Do I think it's too far-fetched to be real? No, absolutely not. Nope, sure don't. Crazy, right? Just my opinion, though. None of this is factual. It's literally just my opinion, so that's it. Don't take it as fact. And here's the thing. Obviously, this goes without saying, but I could be wrong. Any of these people that I have showed throughout this video could be wrong. Or they could be right. Or at the same time, it could be partially true or partially right or whatever have you. And that's okay. That's why I presented it to you this way. Because I want you to take this information and do with it what you will. Come to your own conclusions, do your own research, and, form your own opinions. This should be the starting point of you guys looking into smart dust and, how they're spraying it and Morgellons disease. This should not be the end of your research. This should be the beginning. That's literally the whole point of this channel. I am not here to just hand you a conclusion and tell you what to believe. I would never want to do that to you guys. My only goal is to have you walking away knowing that this stuff exists. And knowing that the questions that are out there and the questions that are being asked are not insane. And most importantly, I want you to know, with 100% certainty, that you are not by any means crazy for asking them. And if you or someone you know has dealt or is currently dealing with Morgellons and has ever been told that it's all in your head or the bag's empty dog, I sincerely hope that this video gave you guys like a little bit of validation, because you deserve it. I couldn't imagine being gaslit by my freaking doctor every day of my life. I mean, actually, I can slightly, because like no doctors, well, very few American doctors will admit that parasites can affect humans. So I think we all know that anyway, but that's very different than like actively having something crawl out of your skin and the doctor's like, I don't see anything, dog, you're crazy. Like, ugh, it's awful. It's truly awful. So I want anyone out there who is suffering from Morgellons or knows anybody who is suffering from Morgellons, either like, currently or in the past, that you are not alone and you're not crazy, no matter what frickin' doctor or doctors have told you. It's pretty frickin' sad that like a random girl on the internet even has to say that, because like, our medical industry should be doing it, but they aren't, allegedly. All right, y'all, you already know what time it is. We've officially made it to the end of this video. I know you guys don't like this time, but it has to come at the end of every video. So that's it for this one. I appreciate your guys' time so much. Like, you already know, if you made it to the end of this video, you're a real one. I appreciate you. And if you're still here hearing me ramble, then do me a favor and drop the word receipts in the comments, just so I know that you stuck around with me all the way until the very end. Like the video if you didn't like it in the beginning, and if you're not subscribed to our channel, come on over and get subscribed to our channel, and make sure you hit that little bell icon, so hopefully, fingers crossed, YouTube will notify you whenever I upload new videos just like this. If you have any deep dive topics that you would like to see me make a, deep dive video on, or even include in one of my mini deep dive series that we have recently started and are, covering here recently, drop a comment with the topic, theory, just whatever, like the topic you want me to look into or, research more, and then do a hashtag deep dive, just so it's easier for me to find your guys' topics and video ideas that you have, presented to me and would like to see me cover. So if you have a video topic idea that you want to see me cover, comment that, topic or whatever idea, and then do a hashtag deep dive so it is easier for me to find that. But with all of that being said, I'm going to go ahead and hop on out of here. I love you all so much. Take care of each other, be kind to one another, and until next time, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!
I came here to kick some ass just like Roddy Piper. These motherfuckers that walk among us, they got me hyper. But don't be chewing that bubble gum, it's got aspartame. It's a chemical directly targeted at your brain, just like the fluoride that they put in the water supply, and all the geoengineering we got in the sky. I'm trying to tell you, and I hope that you're hearing me clearly, this ain't no bullshit speculation, conspiracy theory. They live and they're controlling every move you make, from the apartment that you live in to the juice you drink. They give you television to help you ignore this prison, while feeding you genetically modified organisms. They want us like the Walking Dead, just obey and consume. Don't worry about anything, keep awaiting your doom. To all my warriors out there, this is indeed my call. It's time to put a fucking end to this elite cabal. They live, we sleep, the alarm's going off, beep beep. Time to wake up to the deceit. Our whole reality's made up by the elite. They live, we sleep, the alarm's going off, beep beep. Time to wake up to the deceit. Our whole reality's made up by the elite.